This morning, at exactly 9:12 a.m. Eastern Time, something extraordinary happened inside a crowded hallway just outside a federal courtroom in Washington, D.C. Cameras were rolling, reporters were shouting questions, and in the middle of that chaos, former U.S. President Donald Trump stopped mid-stride, turned toward a journalist, and responded to a question no one expected to hear. The question wasn't about the election. It wasn't about his legal battles. It wasn't even about U.S. domestic politics. It was about Imran Khan and his bail situation. And what happened next has triggered a global political shockwave. According to multiple reporters present at the scene, Trump paused for nearly 5 seconds before responding. He reportedly said he had been hearing a lot about it and that it's a very serious situation. Right now, media outlets across the United States are scrambling to analyze what this means. Political commentators are calling it unprecedented. Diplomatic experts are calling it extraordinary. And here's why this matters so much. This is not just a passing comment. This is not just political chatter. These are public statements made in front of cameras, verified by journalists, and now being discussed in major policy circles. These are public records, not anonymous tips, not rumors, not speculation. And if you want to stay ahead of stories like this before they explode everywhere else, subscribe right now and turn on notifications. You won't see this level of breakdown anywhere else, because what we're about to uncover will completely change how you understand the situation. Stay with me. Here is exactly how things unfolded. Before anyone dismisses this as gossip or social media hype, you need to understand the timeline, because the timeline tells the real story. It begins late last night in Washington. At around 11:45 p.m. Eastern Time, political reporters monitoring international news started noticing something unusual. Several diplomatic briefings mentioned Pakistan's internal legal developments, specifically the ongoing bail proceedings connected to Imran Khan. Now, normally, that wouldn't be unusual. International legal developments are discussed all the time in diplomatic circles. But this time was different. Why? Because sources inside political media rooms say U.S. reporters were suddenly asking whether American political figures had been briefed on the situation. Then, just hours later, this morning's exchange happened. And that's what triggered the media frenzy. Here's what you need to understand. When a former U.S. president publicly acknowledges a foreign political legal case, especially one involving a former head of government, it signals something much bigger than casual interest. It signals diplomatic awareness. It signals potential geopolitical implications, and it signals that powerful political networks are paying attention. Let's break down what actually happened step by step. First layer, the media environment. According to journalists present at the courthouse, the question about Imran Khan was not random. Reporters had been discussing international political tensions all morning. One reporter asked whether Trump had been briefed about global political stability concerns. That's when the specific question about Khan came up. Trump's response was brief but powerful. He acknowledged awareness. He called it serious, and he hinted at broader implications without giving details. Now, here's where things get even more explosive. Within minutes of that statement, major U.S. media monitoring systems flagged the moment. Political analysis panels began discussing it in real time. And this just got even crazier. What's going through your mind right now? Comment your honest take, because your perspective helps shape this conversation. Second layer, diplomatic reaction. Within hours, analysts noticed that policy experts began discussing how unusual it is for American political figures to publicly comment on ongoing legal matters in another country. One former diplomatic advisor explained that such remarks often indicate awareness at high political levels, even if informal. In simple terms, it suggests the issue has crossed into international political attention. And that's why media reaction has been so intense. Now let's talk about the third layer, political symbolism. Here's the kicker. In global politics, public acknowledgement carries enormous symbolic weight. Even a short statement can signal recognition, concern, or strategic positioning. And that's exactly why analysts are calling this moment unprecedented. Drop a comment right now if you saw this coming, because most people didn't. Now things get absolutely explosive when we look at historical precedent. Experts say it's extremely rare for American political leaders, current or former, to reference specific legal proceedings involving foreign opposition figures in public settings. It has happened before, but only in moments of major geopolitical tension. And that's why this moment is being closely analyzed. If this is making sense so far, smash that like button. And because we're only halfway through this explosive story, let's move to the next layer: media escalation. Within 2 hours of Trump's statement, political discussion panels across the U.S. began debating its meaning. Some analysts argued it could reflect broader concerns about political stability abroad. Others suggested it could simply reflect media pressure and questioning. But here's the key point: no one disagreed about one thing. The statement was unusual, very unusual. And here's where the timeline becomes even more dramatic. Then this morning, at exactly 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time, international news monitoring systems reported a surge in global searches related to the topic. That means public interest skyrocketed almost instantly. If this blows your mind, hit that like button right now, because the most explosive part is coming next. Implications. Here's what makes this situation even more significant. Legal experts say the situation highlights how interconnected global politics has become. In today's world, domestic legal cases can quickly become international political discussions. Former federal legal analysts have explained that public statements by high-profile figures can influence diplomatic narratives, even if unintentionally. That doesn't mean legal outcomes change, but it does mean public perception shifts dramatically, and perception in politics can be as powerful as policy. Now, here are 3 specific things to watch going forward. First, media framing. Watch how major international outlets describe this story. Language matters, and framing can shape global understanding. Second, political responses. Notice whether other political figures comment publicly. Silence or engagement both send powerful signals. Third, diplomatic communication patterns. Experts say changes in official statements or briefings could reveal deeper geopolitical concerns. Notice how this follows the same playbook seen in past global political controversies, where media attention quickly transforms local legal issues into international political narratives. We're seeing that exact pattern right now. Pause for a second and hit the like button if you're finding value, because understanding these dynamics puts you ahead of 99% of viewers. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. What does all this mean historically? Political historians say moments like this often mark turning points in how international legal and political stories are discussed. In the past, domestic legal cases rarely reached global political attention so quickly. But today's hyper-connected media environment changes everything. One statement can trigger global discussion within minutes, and that's exactly what happened here. Your thoughts always make the conversation better. So tell me below, do you think this will have long-term political implications? Now let's bring this all together. This morning's moment was unprecedented. A former U.S. president publicly acknowledged awareness of a foreign political legal case. Media reaction was immediate and intense. Diplomatic analysts recognized its unusual significance, and global attention surged within hours. This story is far from over, because what happens next could reshape international political conversations. Stay with me, because the stakes are enormous. This situation highlights how interconnected modern politics has become. Legal events in one country can instantly become political discussions worldwide. Public statements can reshape narratives overnight, and media attention can amplify everything at record speed. This is history unfolding in real time. And if you want to stay ahead of these explosive developments, hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss what happens next. Because the next phase of this story diplomatic responses, political reactions, and media framing could be even more extraordinary than what we've seen so far. And we'll be here to break it all down for you. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay ready, because this story is just getting started.